stuff online about this new console wars and the next gen, and who's going to win. The Nintendo Wii, the Xbox 360, or the 3DO. I mean the PS3, the PlayStation 3, and it's just so annoying. It's just people get so wrapped up in this, and they just, it's not like you only have to buy one. You can have them all if you want. I mean, if you want to take out a small loan for a PS3, you could do that, but yeah, I don't know. The console wars just aren't what they used to be. Not like back in the 16-bit days. I mean, man, you look back and reflect on the 16-bit wars. Wow. I mean, Nintendo and Sega were like neck and neck the whole way. In America, the Sega Genesis looked like the #1 console for a few years there. But if you look in Japan, it was the Nintendo Super Famicom that was #1 by far, as comparison to the Sega system in Japan. It's so weird. It's all different consoles, had different parts of the world, and dominated, and it was so neck and neck here in the States. It was just really good. You had Sega with Sonic, and Nintendo had Mario games, and both the consoles were so unique and so completely different. I loved that when you were playing a Genesis game, and somebody walked in, they'd look at the TV and they'd say, well, you're playing a Genesis game. They could never be confused for a Super Nintendo game, because they'd play and look and sound, especially sound, completely different. Then there was the wild card. I mean, the kind of the unknown 16-bit console that I like to, that I really made a connection with, and that was the TurboGrafx 16. I mean, people in America, the TurboGrafx 16 did not sell nearly as well as the Genesis and the Super NES. Why? I honest to God don't know, because the games were awesome. I mean, now the TurboGrafx 16 games are being released again, but this time on the Virtual Console for the Nintendo Wii. And people are always wondering why these games are selling so well now on the Virtual Console when they didn't sell years ago. Mostly, my theory here is because a lot of those games, people hadn't played them, so they actually feel almost like new games. I mean, like Bonk's Adventure for the TurboGrafx 16, and then Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, this is the first time Bonk's Adventure has been released since the TurboGrafx years, whereas Sonic the Hedgehog has been re-released on, the Saturn, the Dreamcast, the Game Boys, the Neo Geo Pocket Color, Macintosh, PC. I mean, every 2 years there's a new version of Sonic 1 again on a different compilation disc. Sega's hoarded out Sonic pretty well, if you ask me. But that's a pretty big reason why the Virtual Console TurboGrafx games are selling so well online right now, because people haven't ever seen them before. I mean, it's to a whole new generation. But the 16-bit wars, oh man, I mean, I really became infatuated with the TurboGrafx mainly because it was so different and so unique, and to have a TurboGrafx 16, which I did in '94, I finally got my Turbo Duo. I got a Turbo Duo. I was like the only kid on the block that had one, and that was pretty cool to me. People would have their Genesises over here and the Super NESes over there, and then I'd have a TurboGrafx, and people would come over and they'd be like, whoa, what's this? And I'd say, duh, it's a TurboGrafx. Well, let's play that. I've never played that before, and we'd just play it. And we'd play it and play it and play it, and the Super Nintendos and the Genesises would just collect dust. It's the thing about it. During the 16-bit wars, whatever console you chose, which was the TurboGrafx, the Super NES, or the Genesis, you were a winner. Because each console has so much to offer, which is a lot like nowadays, except for fanboys take it way too far. Someone that has a PS2 refuses to buy an Xbox, or refuses to play on an Xbox, and then the same thing with the Microsoft fanboys. It makes no sense. And in this next generation, the 360, the PS3, and the Wii, so far right now I've only purchased the Wii. I plan on purchasing probably all of them if they have something to offer me. But it's all about exclusive titles. I mean, exclusivity is the way of the console. The GameCube had a lot of exclusive stuff with Nintendo. Zelda's, Mario's, F-Zero, Smash Brothers, Paper Mario. I mean, the list goes on and on for Nintendo. I mean, every game Nintendo does, it has that certain Nintendo touch to it that you just don't get on other consoles. And the GameCube was really nice like that. That's why I purchased the GameCube right when it came out. The PS2, During the last console wars, the PS2 probably was the best well-rounded console. I mean, any kind of genre you wanted, the PS2 covered somehow, some way. Maybe it wasn't the best way, but they had games in every single style of game you wanted. Puzzles, RPGs, 2D games, shoot-em-ups, shooters, first-person shooters, whatever. You know, up was down, so go away. I mean, whatever. The PS2 did really well, so... And then the Xbox, to me, I had an Xbox, but I've never really seen why people got so excited about it, besides Halo, which is out on PC anyway, and plays much better on PC. Halo, and I mean, a few other things, but Xbox, to me, didn't have the exclusivity that the other consoles had. Everything that was on an Xbox seemed to come out for something else. You know, I loved Knights of the Old Republic, so I got it on PC. I like Halo, so I got it on PC. Jade Empire, I mean, all these games that were so great on the Xbox came out on the PC or came out on the PS2 or GameCube, so it never really was too much of a necessity for me to have an Xbox. Not like, I just keep going back to those 16-bit wars, man. I mean, the Genesis had their games. I mean, Genesis had Sonic, and it had Streets of Rage, it had Mortal Kombat 2, you know, Mortal Kombat with blood. I mean, that's something the Super Nintendo didn't have, whereas Super Nintendo had the Mario Karts, Super Mario World, Mortal Kombat Without Blood, but then Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which annihilated any Street Fighter games that were on the Genesis. Then the TurboGrafx. They had these little niche games that people didn't really know about, but now if they would have played them back then, probably would have been huge. Like Bonk's Adventure, Bonk's Revenge, Air Zonk, Order of the Griffin, one of the best RPGs I've ever played, East Book 1 and 2, which was heralded as one of the greatest games of all time, according to EGM's editor, Ed Samrad. You know, stuff like that, but, oh man, I just don't see that same love and that same competition in the next coming generation wars. I see these companies that can afford to lose lots and lots and lots of money for many years to come, no matter how poorly the console sells. And it's Sony and Microsoft. They just don't have the passion for it that Nintendo has, I don't think. They feel like they don't have to... I don't know, money talks. You know, back in the day, a developer could come out with a game, you know, have some money put away, pay for it, and release a game on a system. Nowadays, it's all about building an engine for a type of game, and it's making another publisher look at the game, and then they publish it for you, and it's these companies like Konami and Capcom and even Nintendo now, and Microsoft and Sony, they don't even make their own games. They just hire other companies to make them for them, and then they stamp their name on them, and that just bugs me. I used to love the old companies that made games, you know, for the old consoles. I miss Tengen. I miss, you know, the original Atari companies. I miss Infogrames. I miss, you know, old Atlas, Jaleco. I miss Jaleco. I miss IREM. I mean, whatever happened to Data East? Taito. I miss companies like that. You know, old Square. Before Square, two great companies like Square and Enix merged together to become Square Penis. I mean, I just don't get that stuff. I just don't get it. I don't know. I like to rant about video games. I like to sit and listen to myself. Just blah, 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 blah about video games.